So, Mark, did you see that video of the Live Beach Club at Fontainebleau full of people? Who says Vegas is empty?
Yeah, that view is incredible. They look like little ants, kind of like you're looking at an ant farm with all the worker ants going around picking up stuff. I don't know that you could fit one more body into that space.
So, what color is the water? That's the big question. We can't even tell.
What if they had the things back in the day, like in the 90s, where if you peed in the water, it turned purple?
Bright purple. It's the color of the city. That's perfect. Well, Mark, BTS returned to Las Vegas this weekend. It was kind of a quiet sort of lead up to it, but they did 4 shows, sold out. Big weekend in Vegas, fireworks shows, BTS pop-ups everywhere. Another success.
Yeah, BTS always brings a big crowd in. I like that they had the light up things, and we've seen these in like sporting events and in Allegiance, a football stadium. So they already have that system intact, but they were all holding on. So when they'd sing songs, it turned red, it turned white. It looked really cool and added some ambiance into a packed, huge stadium. It made it feel a little bit more cozy, I would say.
Yeah, and it brings a different vibe to Vegas, different kinds of fans. We were in town during the last time BTS came. We had a meetup, which was terrible because the hotel prices went crazy, but it was a good vibe of people. And it seems like this weekend, also Memorial Day weekend, of course, a big weekend in Vegas, busy all over the city, and it handles it well like it always does. I don't know what else to say about that.
No city's better at handling big crowds, except for maybe like F1, but...
Well, we'll talk more about that soon. But Casino, one of our favorite movies, I say one of my, top 3, 4, 5 movies of all time. Martin Scorsese's 1995 classic about the mob era of Vegas. It's on Netflix, but it's leaving on May 31st. I just opened my Netflix app, saw this, and thought I had to share. I'm going to be flying soon. I think I'm going to be watching it on the airplane.
Yeah, and this reminded me, we were talking about back in the day bookies and having people go from book to book and call in with numbers. And somebody had commented, you should watch The Runner, which I think is on Prime Video. So I watched that. It's a direct-to-video movie like in the 90s. It's classic, made-for-TV type of movie in all the best ways. Courtney Cox is even in it, which I was kind of surprised because it was like peak Friends, pandemonium. I'm surprised she would grab onto something like this. Maybe she knew someone. But that's another one that kind of shows you like Paris is being built in Vegas. You get Fitzgerald's downtown. So another one to check out if you just are jonesing for some like old school Vegas looks.
Yeah, I haven't seen Casino in a while. I don't know if it's going to go. I'm sure it'll end up somewhere else for streaming. I just happened to see that. And it's just one of those movies I can always put on, and it feels like the first time I ever watched it. It never feels old to me.
There's always something that you pick up from it that you didn't notice the time before, like little pieces here and there.
Yeah, and then, of course, the whole myth busted about the Cadillac and Lefty Rosenthal and the plate underneath his seat that apparently never was, that was made up for the movie, and then it became the... Yeah, so many cool things there.
Nothing's cooler than the underwater telephone call thing.
Or the FBI agents flying over the golf course, all kinds of great things. But while we're talking Vegas movies, shout out Vegas Vacation. Always got to do that. Anytime we mention a Vegas movie, got to shout that one out too.
Yeah, it still rings true in Vegas. So you should just get punched in the nuts and give up half your money.
And then you just win cars, and more cars. But Mark, you alluded to it earlier, so we have to talk about F1. We talked about this a couple weeks ago when the vote was going to happen, but the county did approve F1 through 2037. I love how they do this because part of the approval is that they're going to get the timelines down and they're going to make this more efficient, but they don't say how they're going to do that. There's really no way to hold them to account for that. So it is approved. Now, just remember the contract only goes through 27. So they're still negotiating to actually get the race through 2037. This just allows that to happen, but I'm pretty sure it's a done deal.
Yeah, I feel like every time they re-up this, this is what, the 3rd or 4th time that they've done something similar. And every time they're like, oh, yeah, they're going to make it quicker. The turnaround's going to be better. And then nothing ever comes of it. They don't say anything. There should be like fines. They should have a timeline, whether it be 2 weeks before, 1 week after, whatever it is, like put the crunch on them, put the screws to them so that they hire enough people to get this done quickly.
Yeah, there is some talk in there of like permanent gates and different permanent installations for traffic control. And so we'll probably see some of that. Again, I think they're going to have to repave all this road in a few years. Didn't they say the original paving would last for several years? So we really don't know. The other part of this, I think that is huge, is that it will stay on the same weekend, but also on the same course. They're not changing the layout of the course, meaning that whole strip section will remain part of F1.
Which I think is good for people that are kind of growing into this and used to the turns and everything like that. Better for the drivers. Unless they were just going to move it off the strip altogether, I don't know why you would change up the course at all.
I don't know that they're going to be able to get this down to anything more reasonable. I think that the powers that be have decided that this is worth the pain and everybody else should just deal with it. And I think that Las Vegas should look at the fact that, hey, this is the F1 flagship race that they're putting on their calendar. And that means that Las Vegas is a big deal. So it's really good for the city that they want to keep doing this, even if we grouse about all the headaches.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's great. It's a marquee event in the city, and F1 is a global brand, so they're bringing in eyeballs. I mean, Vegas always brings in eyeballs from overseas, but this maybe catches on to a couple people that you wouldn't otherwise.
And it's pretty cool when you're out on the strip, the cars are driving around. It is pretty cool.
Yeah, for once. One time.
What's also pretty cool is Las Vegas Advisor. Still plenty of time left in this year to save. Hundreds of savings downtown, the strip, gaming, hotels, dining. Only $45 for first-time members with code MTM. Tons of savings. You can save hundreds of dollars in a day with Las Vegas Advisor.
Scan the QR code, click the link, sign up, save some money on your next trip.
So let's talk Golden Knights, Mark. Now, when we're recording this, they are up 3-0. So by the time this show comes out, they may already be in the Stanley Cup Finals. Sort of a whirlwind season. We've talked about it a little bit as we went. They fired their coach, all kinds of stuff. But I don't think anybody expected them to go up 3-0 over the Colorado Avalanche. And it just feels like maybe this is their year.
Yeah, it's been a great run going into the playoffs the last week or two leading up to it and then in the playoffs. So it's been cool to see. And just as an expansion team, I don't think any expansion team has ever had this type of success this quickly going on for this long. Like when they won their first Stanley Cup, you're like, oh, maybe a flash in the pan, but they've been back several times now.
Hockey Town, USA, Mark. Hockey Town, USA.
Every time.
So let's talk MGM for a second. And they announced this new food drink festival called Drink Las Vegas, September 24th through 27th. It's going to be at Aria, Bellagio, Cosmo, and Park MGM. Industry panels and seminars, seated lunch experiences, seated dinners, and then seminars. I saw the seminars from $95, cocktail hours from $195. Dining experiences seem to be about $250 and up. And obviously some of the chefs like Roy Choi, some of their celebrity chefs running all this stuff. We've seen these types of events before, but I think Drink Las Vegas is new and it looks like a big deal for MGM. Another way that, hey, this weekend, let's bring a bunch of people in. Another one of those types of events.
I do feel like this is being packaged in a weird way. Like when I first saw the name, I'm like, okay, isn't everyday Drink Las Vegas? Like, oh, this would be fun. Something Strip Stumble would put together type of thing. And then you see it and you're like, seminars, seated lunch. It just feels like a convention. It doesn't feel like something that's the regular public would be all that into. I don't know. It just seems like a weird way to package this. And then they're presenting it as something else. I don't know. Did you feel that way too?
Yeah, I see it as sort of like the foodie culture, social media, and they already have all these fancy restaurants and chefs. So it's a way to sort of bring the public in to get elevated experiences. You know, restaurants like Gymkhana, their new Indian restaurant at Aria, which is a Michelin star restaurant, gives you a chance to sort of get behind the scenes there. So I guess it really is just for foodie culture, people who love food to come to Vegas and get these sort of intimate experiences and to pay the price for them because they're not cheap.
No, and it's weird that it's all broken out into like different things, which is kind of nice. If you just want to do the happy hours, you can do that. You don't have to go to the seminars, but you normally something like this, like a convention, is all in pricing. So it's kind of unique. I give them credit for trying something different. Like you said, if foodie culture, it's big in Vegas. A lot of people come because you have restaurants from all around the world, restaurant tours from all around the world in one place. So maybe it will be really popular. It just seemed like a weird way to put it together.
Well, let's stay on food and talk the Raiders bar. I happened to go there this week. I want to say M Resort, this is all anecdotal, but their comps seem to be far better than a lot of the local casinos. So shout out to Penn on that. So we had some dining credit and we went over to the Raiders bar and grill. And this was my first time dining there. I've obviously been there before. I walked through the restaurant and all that, but it's sort of a modern, lightly themed restaurant with Raiders everywhere. Pretty good food. My wife had the country fried steak. I had like a club sandwich and some clam chowder. $11 for the clam chowder though, Mark. I don't know about that.
There you go, saving some money, see?
Me and the double-digit cost bowls of clam chowder, it's getting out of hand.
I mean, 11's a lot better than 29 or whatever it was.
With that had crab and lobster, come on now. But yeah, this place is good. The service was really good. The prices pretty much in line with a lot of local restaurants, not really like strip casino prices. The M has a lot going for it. Also stopped at Baby Cakes Bakery, which is very well known in there. Got a mini bunt cake, which was very good. So yeah, overall a nice thing. And they had sent us, I think, $70 in dining credit. And, like I said, it's all anecdotal on how much you play. We don't usually get comps. We're not big players. And this is pretty nice. We also have comps at the hotel, which is rare for locals as well.
Yeah, I've always thought of the Raiders bar just kind of like a really nice, maybe higher upscale sports bar. And yes, it's called Raiders and Raiders theming, but I don't think it's really, that's the draw to it. It's just kind of a cool place to go watch sports. I don't think it's like a Raiders fan hangout as much as they kind of sold that in the beginning. It's just a really nice looking place to go have lunch or dinner and some drinks and watch some games.
Yeah, I agree. I probably on like weekends when the Raiders are in town. This is the official Raiders hotel, and they have all the sports tie-ins there. But yeah, just on a normal night like we went, it was just normal people eating there. It sort of acts as their coffee shop, really, in the hotel there. Love the decor, a lot of football stuff, and I'm a Packers fan, but gotta love the hometown team. And, as much as it doesn't seem all that special, it is the Raiders restaurant. Like, that is a big thing. And I'm sure there's Raiders fans all over the country who make a pilgrimage here.
Oh, I'm sure. I mean, most cities don't have something like that. I can't think of very many. Brett Favre has one in by Lambeau. I guess that's kind of their version of it, right? Are you still allowed to say his name, or does Aaron Rodgers have a steakhouse yet? Can we talk about him or no?
So from today's themed restaurants to yesterday's themed restaurants, let's talk Quark's Bar. This was in the Star Trek experience. And this comes from a comment on our Golden Tiki where we talked about that drink that had 6 ounces of alcohol in it. And the comment says, no offense to the Golden Tiki, but let's remember that Quark's Bar and Restaurant at Star Trek The Experience had the Warp Core Breach, which contained a staggering 10 ounces of liquor. They strongly recommended that you share it with a friend. But I wanted to talk about Quark's Bar. This was the coolest place. It was really themed around Deep Space Nine. I went there several times with my son. I just remember going there for lunch. Obviously did the Star Trek experience as well, but you could just go there and eat. A couple times we would just go ride the monorail from MGM Grand all the way up there, go eat, ride the monorail back. Good times. And yeah, I love that onion ring tower, which I don't know. I didn't see it a lot back then, but now everybody has an onion ring tower.
Yeah, that was my takeaway from this video. I was like, was this the birthplace of Onion Ring Tower? And this
is
is
the first
just
place I saw it, and I remember it too, like from back then, getting it and thinking it was so cool. And then when I
well,
saw
he made
today,
it
I was
seem like
oh, yeah.
it. He's like, they said make it more Trekky or whatever. So I was like, all right, let's put him on this tower thing. So I wonder if that is where it started. Now everybody has one, like you said. But no, this is so amazing, and I didn't get to experience it. It went away before I started coming to Vegas, or right around when I first started coming to Vegas. And it would be a place that I would go to now just because it's something you don't really get anymore. It's what a lot of people want. They're hoping casinos theme themselves and things like that. But this is a way that even a non-themed casino could have a section for people like that. And I think this would really draw them in, especially if you're a not main strip property. Why not bring this back? This looks epic.
Yeah, this was really well done. It did feel like the bar from Deep Space Nine, and they paid a lot of money to have people in character. You would go in and you would see Ferengi and different aliens and Star Trek officers, and you had that whole sort of thing. And as you point out, they did a lot with the drinks to make them feel Star Trekky, and then like I know he said in the video, I don't remember this part, but like triangle buns for the burger. So they tried to make all the food look a little bit different, and it just felt like, hey, this is an experience. And that was a lot of what the 90s tried to do, and we have moved away from that. And I think you see there's the Raiders Bar and Grill. We'll just throw the Raiders on there, and that's sort of what it is. Hard to compare those two, but it's not the same.
Oh man, you're just making it look worse. But no, we've seen this even like Star Wars in Disney. They have a bar in their themed area of the park, and you go in there, and I went in there with my kids. It's a pretty epic experience. It's small, it's tight, it's hard to get into, not to mention you have to buy like $150 ticket just to get into the park. So if you had this as an option instead, where you can just go dine, and yeah, the prices are going to be a bit higher, but you're willing to do it because it's such a cool atmosphere. I don't know why we don't have more of this. Everyone that does something similar these days kills it. So bring it back to Vegas. Somebody do, even if it's not Star Trek, if it's a knockoff. I mean, we've seen it with the Blockbuster pop-up. They did it on the cheap end. But I'd love to see something where people put a ton of money into this.
And Star Trek, of course, a very interesting history in the city of Las Vegas. Obviously, Star Trek slots, but Star Trek The Experience at the Las Vegas Hilton. But also, at one point, before they decided to do the Fremont Street Experience, they were going to build a giant-sized Enterprise downtown. That was going to be the thing instead of the canopy to draw you downtown. So Star Trek all over the place. I think Paramount is the one who pulled out at the last minute, or else we'd have an Enterprise instead of Fremont Street Experience.
That would be cool. I'm excited. The other one that's coming to town that I think will be cool, hopefully if they pull it off at all like the movie, is that Maverick Top Gun bar. I think that'll be a lot of fun.
Well, Mark, you'll be waiting for quite a while. I just looked it up. It's about 2 years away.
That's crazy. I mean, maybe they're just a concept of a concept when they announced it, or maybe this is Bally's 2.0, but 2028 seems like a long ways away for a bar. Maybe that means they're really putting the money and effort into it like we just asked for. So I'm excited. 2028 can't come quick enough.
So let's close with this. Smoking casinos. I thought we should talk about this. Obviously, Park MGM became a big deal on the Strip, becoming a non-smoking casino quite a few years ago now. And the theory was that, hey, more casinos are going to do this and that it's been successful. It does seem like it has been successful there. They're not running in the opposite direction. But I saw this tweet from John Mahaffey, and this comes from VP Free 2, which is a website that actually keeps track of which video poker machines are in which casinos, a great resource for that. But he was talking about Gold Coast taking out their non-smoking slot section. I know GVR recently did that. It almost seems like we're going backwards in casinos, and we're definitely not getting those smoke-free casinos that a lot of people had dreamed about.
I do wonder if this is not so much a telling thing. It's just that smoke-free sections feel like a completely different part of the casino. You're kind of cut off from the atmosphere, the fun. So it just feels like you're going into a closet somewhere. It's not the same type of experience. And maybe people are like, yeah, I wish it was a smoke-free casino, but I want the experience. So I think that's more important here is if your casino offers everything they want, they're still going to go in there if they're smoking. Now, would they prefer it to be non-smoking? Sure, but that kind of goes hand in hand with gambling, I feel like, and drinking in Vegas is there's going to be smoking casinos. I do think if like there was half the casinos were smoke-free, then it wouldn't be as good for a Park MGM. I think it being kind of the lone wolf there adds to it that people that it really matters are going to go there. You don't want to take away from that either. So I think it kind of works the system they have right now.
And I should point out that Rio recently added that non-smoking section in the Masquerade Village, which is completely sort of separate from the rest of the casino. So that is going in that direction. I just thought by now we would have another casino announce non-smoking. They clearly are looking at this, and there's been a lot of discussion over the years, a lot of articles I've read, and a lot of people saying, hey, we're thinking about this, we're looking at this, and it never happens. And I think ultimately the most degenerate gamblers are smokers. I think that's just what it comes down to, or at least a good portion of them are, and you don't want to lose those people.
I do wonder, like the younger generation doesn't seem to be as into smoking. So as we age through this in the next 15 or 20 years, maybe we see a shift that way, but it's still big internationally. So if you're trying to bring in international people, you're still going to have a lot of smoking. So I don't know, maybe we'll have to see how this plays out down the line. But I think you're right that 40 to 70 age range, it grew up smoking. And that's just what it is.
Degenerates, all of them. But hey, you're in a casino. What else are you going to do? But there's nothing better than a non-smoking, like one bank of non-smoking machines in the middle of a casino. Like, what is that exactly doing? I guess you just avoid the person next to you. I don't know. Chime in. Do you hope that there's more of these non-smoking sections? Do you want another casino that's not on the Strip to go fully non-smoking so you can go enjoy that? Let us know. Are you surprised that we haven't had more proliferation of non-smoking casinos? Leave a comment. BTS in town. Everything else we talked about. Raiders versus Quark's Bar. Did you do the Star Trek experience? Leave a comment. We do 3 shows a week normally. Next week's going to be a little bit different, but we will be back on Friday with another show. Thanks so much for watching. Talk to you next time.